You're listening to the Career Plus Life Catch-Up, episode number 76. Welcome to the Career Plus Life Catch-Up, a show anchored in reality to help you create a balanced life where you enjoy both your work and your life, because you don't have to choose. I'm your host, Cecile Ferry, a corporate executive turned coach and working mom. This is your place for insights, advice, and tools to optimize your career direction, balance, and confidence. I'm so glad you're here. Let's get into it. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to the podcast. And again, thank you for your patience as I am doing as best as I can to fit those episodes in. So I'm recording this on a Sunday morning. I'm sitting at home and I'm surrounded by my suitcases because I'm going overseas on holidays in less than 48 hours. But I really wanted to get that podcast out to you guys so you can listen throughout the month of August or whenever you're listening to that in the future. So today I want to continue the conversation I started in the past episode, number 75, on feeling enough. If you haven't listened to that one, start there because today is a really nice continuation and build on that. In the previous episode, I talked about 8 pillars, like a scaffolding you could put into your life in order to feel enough. We talked about things like curating your environment, your relationships, putting yourself first, and limiting what you take on, and plenty more. So if you haven't listened, go there first. And otherwise today, I want to add to this. After listening to the last episode, which was quite in depth, you might be thinking, what, Cecile, you've got more for us? Yes, and I'm not sorry. This topic of feeling enough is like tricky, and it's the biggest thing I find to me. It's like the biggest piece of the puzzle that I think we have to solve in our lives, all of us, right? And that's why I think it deserves 2 different episodes. And last time I told you all the things that you can do, mainly all the actions that you can implement in your life in order to feel enough. But the thing is, you could still do every single one of them and still at times not feel enough. Really? Like, why, Cecile? Because of your mindset. And that's why I'm here today. Because you might still self-sabotage, even though you might do everything right in your life and in your world and still not see the changes and the energy you're looking for, that feeling about yourself. It's because your mindset is tripping you up. And by mindset, I mean your ego, that side of you, some people call it your shadow, your inner critic. It's made up of your mind, all your thoughts, all the stories, all the chatter there, all the patterns. It's what goes on in your brain that you think is you, but it's not you. It's not your soul. It's not your core essence. It's just your thinking above it. So the ego is, if you like, a side of you that is there to protect you. But quite often, if we listen to it, it will lead us in a very different direction, sometimes even opposite direction. So it can be a little bit dysfunctional. So to make it easy to understand, your ego is a bit like a little devil, a bit like a little demon with different facets. And today I want to introduce you to some of these facets, some of these masks that it wears that directly impact your sense of worthiness and of feeling enough. I gave you the 8 pillars in the first episode, and this is like the things that can just shake that whole scaffolding, make it really wonky, and try to tear it down. So I have to address those because once you tame those demons, once you know how to overcome them, then you're like future-proofing the whole house and your whole structure. So those 2 episodes really go hand in hand. So today I'm going to go through 5 key mindset, what I'll call dysfunctions, that can happen that directly impact you feeling enough. Are you ready? Let's get into it. Mindset trip number 1, perfectionism. So by definition, perfectionism will tell you that who you are, what you've done, and what you've got isn't enough. couldn't be further away from what we're trying to do here. There can always be more, it can always be better when we are aiming or living by perfectionism. So if you want to feel enough, you need to kill that perfectionist bug in you. Full stop. Perfectionism is what I like to think as a thought error. Something that should never have been invented. Think about it like that, like a concept, like something that's been made up that is optional. In other words, it could totally never have been made up. It's like someone brought it on one day on the planet, and now a lot of us are like pedaling and are aiming for that. And we wish that person never brought it on. But it's here. Our consciousness knows it exists, but it's a terrible modus operandi for us and for our worthiness. I know that if you're here, you're a very smart person. I don't need to explain to you that perfection is not attainable. We all know it, right? We get it. But that doesn't stop us from being driven, acting, and living by that kind of energy of needing to have more and be more and do more. This perfectionism is feeding off our not enoughness. So it's both a cause and an effect of it. So we need to get out of that perfectionist cycle. And the antidote to that, I could do a full episode on it, but let's just get to the point. The antidote to that is thinking that B- is fine. You need to aim for B- in your life. And think what I've done, what I am, is fine as it is. It is not glossing over. It's not saying it's amazing. None of that BS, right? I'm not saying pretend, but I'm saying acknowledge that it's only B-. Yeah, it's not A. It's not A+. But it's also better than C and D. So it's kind of saying some of it isn't perfect. Some bits are good enough. It's pretty good, actually. And stopping there and refusing to chase that little delta that we believe is achievable. Otherwise, we wouldn't go after it. But it's a myth. The key thing here is your awareness of when you are about to do it, just about to be driven by it. You know, like you're about to do something, or you're pushing yourself to finish something, or to do extra, or to control, or to overplan, to all those things we do to make the result be perfect. If you can catch yourself before you've actually done it and stop and then go, oh, hello, your little perfectionist part of me. Thank you for, trying to help me feel better and do all those great things. But I'm going to put you right here where you belong, over there in the not needed category, in the bin. No, thank you. So that's the work to do. And ask yourself, when you're in that moment, am I doing this so that I can feel enough? Or is this really required? So this is the mindset work. You got to catch yourself before you do it and keep training yourself and go, hello, perfectionist side of me. Yes, no, thank you. And bring it back. And in other words, lower the standard. That doesn't mean we're going for D. We're lowering them from an A+ to a B-. Ask yourself, what's the B- of that? Am I already there? Okay, I don't need to do any more. So a lot of self-management and self-control. But if you know your tendency and you watch it and you welcome it and you say thank you and you choose otherwise, that's how you rewire your brain, and that's how you overcome perfectionism. And I know what I'm talking about because I am the living experience of that. And you know what? To help you further, you can enlist the help of someone that is around you, that you trust, that can catch you, because it's much easier for them to spot the perfectionism than it is for you, especially when it's so part of who you are. So for me, I have my great little 9-year-old perfectionist Buster, and she loves being onto me. I didn't ask her to actually, but it's now built that way. And I appreciate it. And she will call me and she's like, Mom, right now, like you're really trying to be a perfectionist and it's not helpful. You're doing too much. And I'll be like, yeah, you're right. Thank you very much. So find someone, whether it's a child, a partner, a friend, that can just call you on it because it's much easier for them to see it. So it's a new habit to take. You got to decide to not aim for the highest standard all the time in everything. The sooner you realize this, the sooner you will save yourself a lot of work and a lot of energy. So be unafraid to be flawed. And when you are in that place, you will feel enough. Because feeling enough is also part of feeling flawed. Otherwise, we are feeling great. We are feeling perfect. That is not the goal here. Feeling enough is, I know I'm flawed, and that is fine. So that's the goal here. Mindset trip number 2, overachievement. So that's mindset conditioning. That is the little twin brother of perfectionism. It's the idea that you earn your sense of self-worth through output. In other words, it says the more I achieve, the better I feel about myself. And I've been there for a very long time in my life. And that is poison too. And it's exhausting. And it's a myth. Because you push yourself and you do more and more and more, and you don't feel better about yourself. You never get to that place. Instead, you move on straight onto the next thing to feel better. So actually, if you look at historical data, you've probably been doing it like I have been doing it. And do you feel better after you've achieved, after you've created X, Y, and Z? No. You pretty much feel the same, but you still have that need to constantly surpass yourself and do better. So the antidote is simple, but it is not easy. It's to do less and to see how you feel about yourself. So now we know that doing more doesn't make us feel better about ourselves. So practice doing the opposite. Start doing less and see, do you feel less than? Do you feel less than enough? You won't feel less than, because I've been there and I've pulled back this year and I'm doing less. And you know what? I actually feel better about myself. So not only have I proven myself wrong about that belief that the more I do, the better I feel. Now I know it's not true, but I've actually nearly proven myself that the opposite is true for me. It's nearly the less I do, the better I feel about myself. And you might find that funny, but you've got to play, you've got to practice, you've got to question those beliefs that have been ingrained into you and being like, is this true? That the more I do, the better I feel? Is it? And one way to find out is to change it. So this requires you to make not just one, but daily mini conscious decisions to pull back, to limit your output. That means set limits, how much time and volume of work you're going to do. Set KPIs for yourself in terms of what you will achieve and not more. Take things off your list consistently is a really good tip, because as an overachiever, you always want to do more than what you can chew. So you might want to aim for 5 things during your day, bring it back down to 2 or 3. And then another tip that I have for you is stop listening to all the personal development content that feeds this side of you. There's a great side of personal development that is about healing things in you, helping you to get clear about your life, getting agency over your life, making decisions and improving your life. I am all for it. This is my passion, my purpose, and why I'm here. But there is also a side of personal development that can be interpreted, especially for those of us that have the overachiever bug in us, as, yes, help me get better. Give me the tips. Give me the hacks. Give me the secrets. Yes, I need that course. I need all of that in order to feel better. So if that resonates with you, and that has been me at times, step away from all of that. Personal development should just guide you here or there, fixing things, putting you on the track, but it shouldn't be that kind of work, right? That some of us feed off. Don't confuse achievement with learning. Some of us really turn to learning to feed that sense of achievement. Learning is important, but learning should just be for us to grow, not to get a sense of enoughness. So really be really mindful why you're learning the things, why you're consuming the things that you are consuming, and not feeding that I'm not enough, because you will never get there. And personal development is so broad and so rich. You will always find messages of areas in your life that you can improve. So if that's you, step away. Don't listen to too many podcasts, read things, like take breaks from it, from your life, and realize your life is fine as it is. So some of us can be falling into that trap where we buffer into personal development. We think it's going to make us feel better, and we buy courses and all of that. And again, when we get to the other end, we don't feel better. We need more things. So that I put under the overachievement, the over personal developmentation, if you like. Those things, you need to make a conscious effort to pull back. You don't need any more resources. You don't need any more wins or gains under your belt. You don't need more results. The truth is, you've got what you need already. You are fine as you are. You don't need any more achievement to feel enough. Okay, mindset trip number 3. This one is quite personal and would deserve its own episode as well. But I'm just gonna give you an intro to it, and you can go and seek more resources for yourself. That one is shame. So here I'm talking about deep, entrenched personal shame that we have stored for years inside of us. It's usually coming from a young age, when we were innocent, when we started experiencing shame because of an interaction that we had with an adult, or because of a situation, for instance, like failing at an exam or doing something really embarrassing. So when we are young, we cannot process it any other way than turning it back onto ourselves and experiencing and creating shame for ourselves, because we're not mature enough to think, well, this can happen. This is life. I didn't master everything. This is okay. No, we're like, I am bad because I was told this, or because I didn't do well at this. So the thing is, we feel that usually at a young age, and that shame will lodge itself into our subconscious somewhere and stay put in there for years. And it will unconsciously color our life and our view of how we feel and our own sense of worthiness. It's like just a program that's running in the background, like the ones you don't know are running on your computer right now. It's a bit like a cap that is put on a thermostat of our worthiness. So this is a very interesting one, because it may not actually be really visible to us. Now, you might be listening to me right now and go, no, Cecile, I don't have shame. I'm fine. Like, I never thought I had shame myself. So it can be tricky because it's so deep down, usually from a really young age. I would say a lot of us have some shame, some form, but we've covered it up. We've masked it. We've adapted, and it doesn't really present its face on a daily basis. So that's why we go through life. But trust me, it's weighing there in the background, and it's directly impacting your ability to feel enough. So if you want to work on that, I invite you to sit down, maybe in meditation, and connect with the deeper side of you. Connect with what's sitting there, with maybe your childhood memories, with your feelings, or when something happens and you feel shame about yourself. It will happen in a blip of a second, so you got to catch yourself. But if you can, then sit down with yourself and go, what was that? Why did that little, apparently trivial thing trigger me and made me feel like I was a bad person? Usually, to put you on the track, it's when you start feeling like you're a bad person. Someone makes you feel like you're a bad person, that usually echoes something in you when you were younger, right? And so I've got to talk about shame because it's there in the background. And no matter if you do everything right in your life, if you don't get rid of that shame that's lodged in there, you will not fully feel enough. And you won't even know why. You'll be like, how come? I should feel enough. I've got this career, I've got this, I've got that. That is because your mind is saying otherwise. So try to tune in with that and connect with it. And in terms of the cure for that, there's several, but things you can do are some forgiveness techniques, because if you can forgive the people that made you feel that way and forgive yourself, especially if you made it mean something about yourself, you can use some specific techniques like the Ho'oponopono technique. You can do EFT on air, emotional freedom technique. You can do RTT, rapid transformation therapy. You can do breath work. You can do Kundalini. Like, those things are all potential ways. Just find what works for you to get that shame back up and out of your body, out of your system. And once you've done that work and that forgiveness, you're going to feel so much lighter, and you didn't even realize that you had that in you before. So once this is really out of your mind, out of your system, then it will naturally help you feel better and feel enough on a daily basis. Mindset trip number 4. Judging others and comparing yourself. So the minute you do engage with that, you shoot yourself in the foot. You shoot your worthiness in the foot. Gabby Bernstein wrote a book called The Judgment Detox. You may want to check it out. I'll put it in the show notes, where she explains that judgment, which, by the way, we all do, every single one of us, judgment weakens us and it darkens our thoughts. So we end up being the one hurt and sad when we judge and when we compare, and it directly lowers our sense of self-worth. That external focus chips away at our inside worthiness feeling. And judging others never, ever leaves us feel better about ourselves. We do it, we think we're going to feel better, but have you noticed? It doesn't work. And this can be such a tough habit to break because it's so ingrained in our culture, in our media. You will see everybody's lives, and the opportunities to judge and compare are galore. If you want to feel enough, you need to have an internal focus, and you need to block that tendency, and you need to stop the external look and external commenting and judging of everything else around and with other people, because it will all reflect it back at you and how you feel about yourself. So you kind of have to only care about your thoughts and your action. When you get to the place where you're really strong in your worthiness, then you will have space for other people's thoughts, feelings, and actions, but not as you're building this, which most of us are. We need to really be mindful. This is an act of self-love, to shut yourself from the judgment, from the external noise, from other people's opinion, and joining the chorus and commenting and gossiping and all of that and comparing yourself. Because until you do that, every time you engage in that, you're not filling the gap in you. As the saying goes, never compare your insides to someone else outside. How often is that not actually reflecting how they feel about themselves? You just need to look at how many celebrities are ending their lives. You can look at all those successful rich people who lose everything away. So you need to have discernment that the quote-unquote outside is nothing. It's just a cover. It's like a 2D invention. It's packaging in our life. And if you chase that to get an inside feeling of enoughness, you're chasing the wrong thing. So leave the glitter, the fame, the money, the career success to others. Be happy for them. And when you're happy for them, you can hope that they feel enough on the inside. But you must cut the cord between you and them. If you maintain this cord, you will never feel enough. Because that cord is what creates the judgment and the comparison. And as long as you're attaching your worth to other people and their reflection, you will never be free and you will never feel enough. There will always be someone that has more than you or has what you don't have. So in order to feel enough in yourself, you need to cut that cord. Enoughness is an inside solo job. It's hard, granted, in our world because we're surrounded 24/7 with people and influences in social media. So we're not able to go into a cave or a retreat for a week and sit in silence, and then we discover that we're enough by ourselves. That's today's challenge, right? You need to find a way to cut yourself from that external environment and noise and just not involve your mind into other people's lives, and find a space to do that within the world that we live in. And it's like you need to protect yourself. You need to put a shield between you and others, you and the world. And then you attend to your own garden and judge your own self and judge yourself as lovingly as you can and leave everybody else outside of the equation. Mindset trip number 5, and this is my last one, the overgiver / people pleaser. It's the idea that we need to give to others, and ideally to give to them first in order for us to feel good. So it's if I give, then I'm going to feel better. This is very much what we call the good girl conditioning. This is where it comes from. A lot of us women have had this hardwire into us. So it's not your fault if you feel that way. Everyone knows it. Nothing is changing about it. There's the patriarchy and there's the good girl right there. That works hand in hand. So the good girl's giving and the patriarchy is taking. And that's how the world rolls, right? So typically we learn how to tend to others' well-being and comfort, and sometimes all the way to sacrificing ourselves at our own expense. And to be honest, these days, starting to come out, the truth is doing that is actually self-neglect. And that's why this will go against feeling enough, because you give thinking you're going to get, but you're actually drawing, and you're creating that gap and that lack in you that is not being replenished by what you think was going to come. And then, of course, you feel like not enough. And then one day you go, but no one is asking me how I'm feeling, and I've been doing all those things for everyone, and no one is helping me. Rings a bell, right? We get to that place because that doesn't work. It's not I give, I get back. I'm not saying here, do not give to others, do not help others. That's not where I'm going with that, because that's actually a pillar that I cover in the last episode. But it's the extent to which you do this, and you do it so much it's at your own expense, or it's the degree to which you rely on this in order to feel validated and enough. It's the why you do it, if you like. And that is the part that goes against feeling enough. It's the part that says, if I give, I will feel better and enough. And it's not working, because I'm sure you've been giving for the last 5, 10, maybe 15, 20 years of your life to people at work, to your partners, to your children, to your community, to your friends. And you've got to give, but it is not filling your cup in return. And the thing is, if you place your sense of worthiness into being of service of something or someone outside of yourself, you will sacrifice your own well-being. and doing extra good, hoping it will convert into worthiness points for you, simply doesn't work that way. Actually, it empties you out further and further. In other words, you can't buy feeling enough through pleasing others, which I think is a lie we get sold as a kid. We're like, if you're nice, if you help, if you're a good girl, you will be appreciated and seen and valued. That is so not the truth. What we are all seeing is happening now. If you help everyone, if you can, if you serve others, you will feel exhausted, depleted, and resentful at the end of the day. That is more the proven experience of it. Doesn't work. Otherwise, guess what? All of us will be little Samaritans walking around. Everyone will want to be Mother Teresa because it will pay off. We will feel great about ourselves. So that is not a path to live. And the antidote here is a mindset one. Surprise, surprise, is self-honor. I know in the pillar I talk into the action of putting yourself first. So this is like the matching mindset for that. Because you won't put your needs first unless you do feel like you deserve looking after yourself first. So you need to see that pattern of overgiving again, like that pattern of perfectionism that we talked about, the pattern of overachieving. And you need to see what it does to you and to some extent what it does to others, because what are they not learning? What are they not doing? What are they not giving? Because you're giving so much. It actually even impacts other people and potentially their own sense of self-worth too. So see what it does and see the weight on you. Like see the sheer amount of effort, time, energy that this is costing you and the ask that it is of you. Because the goal here is to free yourself up from a lot of that, to only do what is manageable. It's to give, but to not overgive. And it is to breathe, literally, breathe more freely, and to regain your own authority here and not needing validation from others. I know it's a big topic and there's tons of resources online about people pleasing. But if you can just stay with the idea and notice in your life when you're doing it, you can catch yourself again and go, hello people pleasing. Hello that side of me. I don't need that today. I'm fine as I am and I'm not going to do that. Thank you. So it's about retraining your mind from those very well practiced circuits that have been running, where you were chasing self-worth and questioning it. Does this work? I've, busted my chops doing all of that all week for everyone. Do I feel better about myself at the end of it? I guess the answer would be no, I actually feel worse. So change it up the following week. My beautiful friends, so here we are. I'm going to wrap up. So we covered the 5 mindset tripping factors, aka your little demons that can absolutely tear your self-worth apart, even if you put the best actions in place in your life. So it's the yin and the yang. You need both. Like one is the sauce, the rest is the meat. Like you're gonna have to do both in sync. And I know I'm reflecting back, a lot of those really sounded negative today. We talk about perfectionism and shame and overachieving and overgiving and overpleasing and judging and comparing. Yeah, plenty of things, but we don't do them willingly. A lot of them we don't even do consciously. They're very automatic and everybody does them. We all have those. But this is the work, right? It's in acknowledging when we've been doing those things because we were trying to get a result, we were trying to feel better, but every single one of them actually takes us nearly in the opposite direction. So we are grown up now, we can take over and we can regain control over those thoughts, those voices, those demons in our head that say, I need to do this. and stop ourselves, question it, and do otherwise. Make different choices, act from a different place, and that will directly translate into worthiness points that will lift up how you feel about yourself, because you will realize you don't need those things in order to. And I want to say a lot of that is not your fault. You never chose to be like that. And you actually always picked up all those things in order to be better. So that comes from a great place. But you were misguided. A lot of us have been so misguided for so many years in our life. And that's why we never feel enough. And there is no take a pill. Unfortunately, you just got to retrain yourself. Maybe you need to re-listen to this episode and the last one. So I start sinking in and take the time it needs. Be patient. This doesn't change overnight. That's my own experience. Seeing your patterns can sometimes take a lot of time, and you need to be in a place in your life when you're not completely stretched and completely putting out fires and dealing with big changes in your life. There is a time for this kind of work, right? But never stop trying, never stop learning, never stop being curious about how you feel and where it comes from, and the little voices, the little things that make you do certain things in your life. Chances are you're chasing some worthiness and it's coming from the wrong place. So you've got full ownership now and so much wisdom at the stage of life that you're in, that you have all the tools, all the resources to do that by yourself. Of course, if you do want some help, I'm also here as a coach to support you, whether it's in your career, through career coaching, or through your personal life, through life coaching, to help you identify when you do this and to catch yourself. And as I said, it's sometimes so much easier from someone outside of you to see those things. Get the proper help, the right support in order to raise yourself. Because I tell you what, that place, that stage exists where you feel like, I'm enough. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. And you don't stop there. You will still want other things and more things that you want to grow. But where you are today is good already. If nothing changed, it will still be really good. So I want that place for you. And I'm here to help you if you want to work together. All right, my friend, that will be it for me for the rest of the month. I'm off to France with my daughter, and I'm going to have some beautiful time catching up with family that I haven't seen in a year, and some long-term friends as well that I haven't seen in a very long time too. So I'm really looking forward to that. I feel really grateful, and I look forward to coming back full of energy for you guys. And I wish you a great couple of weeks ahead of time, and to take care of yourself and to sit with how enough you are and actually how amazingly well you're doing. Take care, everyone. I will speak with you soon. Bye for now. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to find out more information, you can visit my website at careercatchup.com. There you will find blog articles, free resources, a self-study course for your career direction, and ways to work with me. It's at careercatchup.com. I hope to continue to connect with you and support you. Talk to you soon.